Return to Nicaea.
The world has long been governed by the Chinese saying, long divided, must unite, long united, must divide. But does this logic apply to the Christian Church as well?
The Council of Nicaea.
Turkey has a quaint little town called Iznik. In the Roman Empire period, it was a very important city named Nicaea, a name with a feminine touch suggesting it might have once been a place where angels dwelt. This town's fame lies in the fact that it hosted an extremely important ecumenical council of the Christian Church. In AD 313, the Roman Emperor Constantine I, along with Licinius, issued the Edict of Milan, declaring Christianity legal within the empire. However, within Christianity, the rise of the Arian heresy, also known as Arianism, led to intense theological disputes, putting the Church on the brink of division. To maintain the unity of the Church, Emperor Constantine decided to convene an ecumenical council to resolve all controversies. Thus, the Council of Nicaea was born. The Council of Nicaea was held in AD 325. Its greatest achievement was the creation of the Nicene Creed. In AD 381, the First Council of Constantinople revised and expanded the Nicene Creed, further perfecting the doctrine of the Trinity. The creed that is now widespread is also known as the Niceno-Constantinopolitan Creed. The Nicene Creed was widely accepted by both Eastern and Western churches, becoming a consensus in universal Christian belief. The immediate trigger for the council was indeed the alternative theological doctrine of Arianism. The core belief of Arianism was that the Son, Jesus Christ, is not of the same substance as the Father, but was created by the Father. This view clashed sharply with the mainstream church's perspective at the time, causing theological chaos and threatening the unity of the church and societal stability. The marathon-like Council of Nicaea lasted a long time. Its greatest achievement was establishing the core doctrines of Christian faith and maintaining the unity of the church. The bishops in attendance engaged in deep discussions on theological issues. They eventually reached a consensus, resulting in the creation of the Nicene Creed. This council was a crucial turning point in the history of Christianity. It not only resolved the immediate crisis of church division, but also had a profound impact on Christian theology, church organization, and the spread of Christianity. Subsequent ecumenical councils were held in different locations, totaling 21 times. However, this first council undoubtedly holds the greatest historical significance. It is unparalleled.
The division and reunion of Christianity are due to the whims of secular political powers.
At the time, the Roman Emperor Constantine the Great was still not a Christian, but a thorough pagan. He only received baptism and officially became a Christian on his deathbed. However, as a non-Christian, he played a central role in the Council of Nicaea. He convened, presided over the council, manipulated the agenda, and directed the discussions. After the council, he actively promoted the implementation of the council's resolutions and took decisive administrative measures against the factions opposing the Nicene Creed. However, Constantine's intervention was limited to the effective range of his secular imperial power. The outskirts and outer territories of the empire, unfortunately, were beyond his reach. For example, the Eastern Orthodox churches, although geopolitically mostly under Roman rule, and with four participating factions: Coptic Orthodox Church, Armenian Apostolic Church, Syriac Orthodox Church, and Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, they all rejected the spirit of the council's resolutions. Since they were not in the core area of the Roman Empire, and the emperor's power was limited, Constantine had little control over them. Consequently, the Eastern Orthodox churches are still outside the main three branches of Christianity. The central argument of this article is that the division and reunion of Christianity do not depend on their own subjective will, but are entirely dictated by secular political manipulation. If secular politics requires the unity of Christianity, then there is no room for division. If secular politics demands the division of Christianity, then unity is impossible. Constantine the Great needed a unified Christianity to consolidate his rule. Therefore, he did not hesitate to use administrative means and state machinery to maintain the unity of Christianity. Constantine the Great was the true pope, some case translated into Chinese as Pontiff, religious emperor. He wielded absolute power. Meanwhile, The leader of the Catholic Church was merely a symbol with no real authority. Hence, the leader of the Catholic Church, the Pope, logically, should not be called pontiff but grandmother. After Constantine the Great, the Roman Empire split into the Eastern and Western Roman Empires, each governing itself. Therefore, under theocratic rule, Christianity could not always remain undivided. This is the real reason why the Eastern Orthodox Church separated from the Catholic Church and established itself independently. Later, during the Religion Reformation period, various principalities naturally sought to control the Church. If the Church lost control, the citizens would follow the Church, leaving the principalities powerless. So, the Church had to continue to be divided. This is the real reason Protestantism broke away from Catholicism. When I was in Germany for on-site inspection, a German church authority said, "This river is the boundary." Both sides belong to different principalities. Once the king announces which religious denomination is the state religion, the citizens will either comply with the state religion or move to another country. Therefore, religious division was forcefully created by secular political powers, using administrative means. In other words, although the leaders of the Reformation always claimed to oppose the division of the Church, unfortunately, history still blames them for the division, leaving them with no way to defend themselves even in the afterlife. As for the grand reasons for church division documented, such as church corruption, doctrinal differences, and cultural differences, they are all excuses. These issues have existed since the early church to this day. The division of the church probably did not solve these problems and may have even created new ones. For instance, some believers complain about their church. The Lord's temple is built like a clan shrine, bare and desolate. The leader's mansion is built like a royal palace, lavish and splendid. Isn't this corruption? Since almost all the above issues persisted after the Reformation, why didn't Catholicism continue to undergo large-scale divisions? The real reason is that the theocratic system no longer exists. Within the Church, relying on a few individuals alone cannot create division. Only external secular political powers can create division. The often criticized indulgences were insignificant, as they were not compulsory but purchased voluntarily by the faithful. Considering the grandeur of St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, which can be called a miracle on earth, it must have cost astronomical amounts. Considering the magnificent temples built worldwide for God, it was an unavoidable expense. Comparing this to bloodshed and war, the indulgences were a negligible matter. They were far from a reason to divide the Church. No gold is pure, and no man is perfect. Where there are people, there will always be disputes. Since the Church is made up of people, it is no exception. Whether in the past, present, or future, mistakes are inevitable. Division cannot solve this problem. And since divided religions are still composed of people, the problems will continue to exist. The tripartite situation of Christianity is a historical relic, bestowed by the emperors and princes under the theocratic system. Now that times have changed and royal power no longer exists, will convening another Council of Nicaea achieve unity? The answer is no. Without the support of secular political power, any internal religious council resolutions have no means of enforcement. They are just empty words. The executors of the resolutions will never willingly relinquish their vested interests. One of the evidences is the World Missionary Conference. The modern ecumenical movement began in 1910 with the World Missionary Conference in Edinburgh, UK. Representatives from different denominations reached a consensus. The division of the Church harmed the image of Christianity and hindered the spread of the gospel. Therefore, they called for greater cooperation among churches to promote the global missionary cause. In 1948, the World Council of Churches was established in Amsterdam, Netherlands, marking a new phase for the ecumenical movement. This council brought together many Protestant and Orthodox churches to promote dialogue and cooperation, seeking consensus in faith and practice. Such conferences are likely just the wishful thinking of enthusiastic clergy. The reason remains that, without the support of secular political power, no matter how many conferences are held, they will inevitably result in empty talk and empty documents.
The Three Brothers of Christianity.
The three brothers of Christianity each have their own characteristics. Eldest brother Catholicism, honest and hardworking, diligent and uncomplaining, often shy away from the spotlight due to their solemn demeanor. Second brother Eastern Orthodoxy, Introverted and cautious, they keep to themselves, and live in harmony with the world. Youngest brother Protestantism, also known as the Protestant Church, they are extroverted, articulate, and the most active. Since Christianity is already divided into three parts, will there be a fourth brother in the future? The answer is no. The two historical splits were results of the theocracy system, where the church was divided by secular political forces. The doctrinal differences were merely a pretext. Today, the theocracy system is long gone, and thus, a new church split is unlikely. Therefore, the fourth brother will never see the light of day. The collective heritage of the three brothers is academically referred to as Christianity. This is emphasized here, because when early Protestantism spread to China, it was translated as Christianity, caused big confusion. Thus, in the current Chinese context, Christianity refers specifically to Protestantism. However, for references before the split, Christianity can still be used to denote the true lineage of Christ, aligning with historical documents. In reality, the three brothers of Christianity are represented by three denominations, not sects. Denominations are concepts, while sects are entities. Sects are physical divisions within denominations. Eldest brother Catholicism itself is its sole sect. Second brother Eastern Orthodoxy, roughly divided into 16 sects, based on secular governments and geographical regions. Youngest brother Protestantism, due to numerous factions, and new ones constantly emerging, the actual number of sects is incalculable. According to doctrine, everyone is a priest, and everyone can interpret the Bible individually. Thus, theoretically, every Protestant believer can form their own sect. Based on the definitions of concept and entity, Eastern Orthodoxy and Protestantism, within their own ranks, also belong to denominations rather than sects. The original guidelines for Christian doctrines were set by the ecumenical councils, centered on the Roman See. There have been 21 councils held to date. However, Eastern Orthodoxy recognizes only the first 7 before the split, and Protestantism only acknowledges the first 18 before they left. After the split, both Eastern Orthodoxy and Protestantism often participated as observers, without speaking or voting rights. The First Ecumenical Council was held in the small town of Nicaea during the Roman Empire. It was the most significant democratic decision-making event in Christian history, and its significance lies in, convened by a non-Christian, the most powerful Roman emperor, Constantine, attended by over 300 bishops from various independent churches worldwide. Essentially, all ecumenical churches participated, formulated the core and fundamental doctrines of the universal Christian church, such as the concept of the Trinity. These doctrines are now the standards for identifying heresy in Christianity. Crucially, the Council's resolutions unified the fragmented and independent churches into a whole. In Nicaea, the council was held twice. The term Council of Nicaea specifically refers to the first meeting. The first council marked the unification of the ecumenical church from fragmentation, thus ending the early church period. Since the fragmented early church achieved unity through the ecumenical councils, can the three brothers of Christianity achieve unity through an ecumenical family council? The answer seems pessimistic. Without the protection and support of external secular powers, the success of unity depends entirely on whether today's Christians have such extraordinary awareness and awakening. The characteristics of the three brothers of Christianity. Eldest brother, Catholicism. Long history. Catholicism is the oldest, largest, and fastest growing denomination of Christianity. It has a history of 2,000 years and over 1.3 billion followers worldwide. Supreme authority. Emphasizes the absolute authority of the Pope, considering him the representative of Jesus on earth, with the highest religious power. Establishing such a role is essential due to the vast number of Catholics and the wide geographical spread, necessitating hierarchical management. Tightly organized, the Church has a large and tight organization, with a strict hierarchy. The Pope is the nominal highest spiritual leader, with bishops and priests beneath him. It follows a pyramid style of centralized power. Second brother, Eastern Orthodoxy. Cultural heritage, predominantly found in Eastern Europe and Russia. It has deep connections with local culture and history. Emphasis on mystery. Focuses on the mystery of religion and spiritual experience, emphasizing direct communication between individuals and God. Complex rituals, unique religious ceremonies, such as the veneration of icons, and candlelight worship. Autonomous churches. Local churches are relatively independent, without a unified leadership structure, but all honor the ecumenical patriarch as the nominal leader. Youngest brother. Protestantism. Reform and innovation. A direct product of the 16th century Reformation, Protestantism advocates justification by faith, emphasizing personal faith freedom, and the authority of the Bible. Numerous sects. Protestantism includes many different sects, like Lutheranism, Calvinism, and Anglicanism, each with distinct beliefs and practices. Focus on practice. Emphasizes the integration of faith and life, encouraging believers to actively participate in social affairs. Relatively open and diverse in theology and social ethics, allowing clergy to marry and women to serve as clergy. Relationships among the three brothers. Same origin. All three major denominations originated from the universal church and believe in Jesus Christ as the Savior. Differences. Throughout history, they developed distinct characteristics due to differences in doctrines, rituals, and church organization. Dialogue. Despite differences, the three major denominations maintain dialogue and jointly strive to spread the Christian gospel. In the current information age, the internet is a crucial battlefield. Due to their characteristics, the online presence of the three Christian branches is dominated by the youngest brother. Essentially, it is a platform monopolized by Protestantism.
The development of Christianity.
The development of Christianity has gone through significant stages, from the early church and the legalization of Christianity in the Roman Empire, through the medieval Catholic dominance, Reformation, and the rise of Protestantism, to the modern globalization. The steps are as follows. Jesus and the early church period. 1st century. Around AD 30, Jesus led his disciples, preaching the gospel of the kingdom, in the region of Palestine, Judea, performing miracles, and developing many followers. Around AD 30 to 33, Jesus was martyred, died, resurrected 3 days later, and appeared to 120 disciples and followers. After the death of Judas the traitor, the remaining 11 disciples prayed together and decided to choose Matthias, by casting lots to fill Judas' vacancy, reconstituting the complete group of 12 apostles. Church establishment period. Pentecost, AD 33 after Jesus' ascension. 120 disciples and followers gathered to pray together. This is generally considered the core group of the early church. The Holy Spirit descended. Apostle Peter preached on Pentecost, and 3,000 people converted, marking the formal birth of the church. Apostle Paul, originally named Saul, converted to Christianity and became a paramount apostle to the Gentiles, driving the rapid expansion of Christianity into the Roman Empire. Expansion and persecution of Christianity. 1st century Christian faith spread rapidly to Asia Minor, Greece, Rome, Syria, and Egypt. The Christian church faced dual persecution from the Roman Empire and the Jews, such as Emperor Nero's brutal crackdown on Christians. Around AD 95, the Apostle John wrote the Book of Revelation, marking the end of the Apostolic era. Roman Empire period. 2nd–3rd century. Initially, Roman emperors viewed Christians as atheists because they did not worship Roman gods, leading to repeated orders to suppress Christians. Early Christians often held secret meetings in underground tombs. They were true underground churches and produced famous theologians like Irenaeus, Tertullian, and Origen. Legalization of Christianity. 4th century. Roman Emperor Constantine the Great issued the Edict of Milan in AD 313, declaring Christianity legal and ending the persecution of Christians by the Roman Empire. In AD 325, Constantine the Great convened the Council of Nicaea, establishing the doctrine of the Trinity and opposing the heresies of Arianism. In AD 380, Theodosius I declared Christianity as the state religion of the Roman Empire, banning pagan worship. Institutionalization of the Church. The Bishop of Rome, later known as the Pope, gradually became the unified spiritual leader of various churches, developed the episcopal system, clergy hierarchy, deacons, elders, bishops, and sacraments. 7 sacraments, including baptism. Medieval Church. 5th–15th century, Catholic dominance period. The Western Roman Empire collapsed, but the Eastern Roman Empire, or Byzantine Empire, continued. With the rise of the Pope AD 476, the Pope became the leader of the Western Christian world, with Catholicism dominating European society. Great Schism between Eastern Orthodoxy and Catholicism 1054. The division of East and West Roman empires led to the de facto separation of the Church. Over time, theological, political, and cultural differences emerged. The open schism between the Eastern and Western churches was inevitable. Catholicism, led by the Pope in Rome, influenced regions including Western Europe, France, Germany, Spain, Italy, etc. Eastern Orthodoxy, led by the Patriarch of Constantinople, influenced regions including Greece, Russia, and Eastern Europe. Initially, both sides were almost equal in strength and size. Later, Eastern Orthodoxy's development slowed due to two main reasons: self-restriction, confining its territory to Eastern Europe and the Balkans, the forced Islamization of its territories by the Ottoman Empire. Consequently, local Eastern Orthodox believers converted to Islam, once again proving that religious and denominational choices were often imposed by secular powers. Crusades 1096-91. The Catholic Pope called on European Christians to embark on expeditions to reclaim the Holy Land of Jerusalem from Muslims. There were 8 crusades in total, which ultimately failed.
Ecumenical Church.
The original meaning of Catholic is universal church. In the early Christian period, the term Catholic was used to distinguish the Orthodox Church from various heretical or schismatic groups. At that time, all Christian churches considered themselves Catholic, emphasizing their universality and unity. Over time, the Roman Church gradually emerged as the dominant force in Christianity. Due to the increasingly close association between the Roman Church and the term Catholic, Catholic eventually became an exclusive label for the Roman Church. By the late Middle Ages, with the schism of the Ecumenical Church and the rise of the Reformation movement, Catholic officially became the exclusive name for the Roman Church, used to differentiate it from other Christian denominations and sects. Today, the term Catholic refers to churches in communion with the Pope of Rome, that is, the Roman Catholic Church. It is one of the 3 major branches of Christianity, alongside Eastern Orthodoxy and Protestantism.
Church schism.
From an outsider's perspective, the 2 historical major schisms of the Church could be seen as a farce, a once sacred religion dragged off its pedestal, leaving behind a mess. Negative impacts of schism: faith confusion. Church schisms lead to confusion among believers, who do not know which denomination to follow. This makes it difficult for believers to discern right from wrong, and they may even become extreme and abandon their faith. Constant conflicts. Schismatic churches inevitably have conflicts, accusing and attacking each other. This not only damages the sacred image of the Church, but also leads to harsh words among believers, broken families, and even bloody conflicts. Dispersed strength. Church schisms result in the dispersion of original strength. Initiatives that could be jointly promoted are hindered or aborted. For example, in areas like charity and education, schismatic churches cannot exert the same significant and effective influence as a united church. Damaged image. Church schisms lead outsiders to think that Christianity has many strange issues. This creates a seriously negative impression, severely impacting the spread and development of Christianity. Non-Christians may view the religion as nothing more than a costly and deceptive farce. All excuses for schism are ambiguous and evasive. In fact, the real mistake of the Christian Church lies in supporting wars. For example, the 30 Years' War in Europe, essentially a bloody conflict for power and territory among secular authorities, disguised as religious war. The Crusades, largely a professional war launched by non-professional militias, using massacre to express will. Failure was inevitable. Supporting their national governments in just wars during the 2 world wars.
Biblical teachings on unity.
For a large family, all parents long for the joy of having their children and grandchildren gathered around them. No parent would want to see their family divided and scattered. The Christian world is a super family, and all believers are God's children. Therefore, the division of the Church must be most heartbreaking for God, the ultimate parent. Jesus Christ wishes for his church to be united. The Bible says, John 17, this is Jesus' prayer for believers before his arrest, emphasizing the importance of unity multiple times. Verses 20 to 21, my prayer is not for them alone. I pray also for those who will believe in me through their message, that all of them may be one, Father, just as you are in me and I am in you. May they also be in us so that the world may believe that you have sent me. Verses 22 to 23, I have given them the glory that you gave me, that they may be one as we are one, I in them and you in me, so that they may be brought to complete unity. Then the world will know that you sent me and have loved them even as you have loved me. Additionally, the great warrior and apostle to the Gentiles, Paul, says, 1 Corinthians 1:10, I appeal to you, brothers and sisters, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that all of you agree with one another in what you say and that there be no divisions among you, but that you be perfectly united in mind and thought. Ephesians 4:4-6, there is one body and one spirit, just as you were called to one hope when you were called, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is over all and through all and in all.
Bearing witness for Christ.
Since Christians exist in a secular society, traditional Christians have a duty to cultivate their souls inwardly, to bear witness for Christ outwardly. To bear witness for Christ requires Christians to excel and reach the pinnacle, academically outstanding, professionally exceptional, morally upright, literarily distinguished. Especially as Chinese people, their religious beliefs are often attacked by atheists as ignorant, backward, and spiritual crutches. However, if Christians excel in every aspect, those who slander them may feel ashamed and find no place to hide. Many Chinese, whether atheists or followers of other religions, choose to convert to Christianity after going abroad, largely due to the exemplary role of outstanding Christians around them. Entering the information age, Christians have a new mission, to occupy the internet, this strategic battlefield. The web is not only a platform for public opinion, but also filled with false Christs and antichrists, where evil thrives. False Christs and antichrists are essentially Satan in Christian guise. They love to stir up strife among different Christian denominations and sects, sometimes playing one role to attack another, sometimes playing another role to slander the first. If Satan is allowed to run rampant, how can Christians bear witness for Christ? Bearing witness means praising and cheering for orthodoxy, roaring against and driving out evil. In this regard, it is evident the eldest brother shows signs of lethargy and indifference. The youngest brother is vigorous and powerful. This can be clearly seen from the language and terms used on the web. Since the web is a strategic battlefield, losing it would be a catastrophe. Gaining it would be a great merit. In these turbulent times, even if only for self-preservation, Christian denominations and sects should set aside past grievances and unite spiritually. To achieve this goal, Christians should at least lead the mindset, using a victorious mentality, to return to that classic, unifying Council of Nicaea,